Most people wake up every morning already defeated. The alarm rings, the phone lights up, and before their feet touch the floor, their mind is flooded with other people's priorities, notifications, worries, excuses. That is how control is lost before the day even begins. But there is a small group, the top 1%, who wake up differently. They don't rush, they don't react, they take command. Your morning is not just the start of the day, it is the control center of your life. The way you wake up decides how you think, how you act, and how you respond to pressure. When you control the morning, you control your emotions. When you control your emotions, you control your future. The 1% understand one powerful truth. Discipline in the morning creates freedom all day. They train their mind before the world demands their attention. While others hit snooze, they build clarity. While others scroll, they strengthen focus. While others complain, they prepare to win. This is not about waking up early just to suffer. It's about waking up intentionally. It's about choosing who you will be before circumstances try to choose for you. The morning is where confidence is built, where self-respect is earned, and where momentum is created. If you want total control over your life, don't start with big goals. Start with the moment you wake up. Because the day you master your morning is the day you stop living on autopilot and start living on purpose. For most people, the day is already lost in the very first moments of waking up. The alarm goes off, and instead of rising with intention, they hit snooze again and again. That single habit trains the mind to delay, to negotiate with discipline, and to choose comfort over control. Before their feet even touch the floor, their brain has learned a dangerous lesson. I don't have to act when I say I will. Then comes the phone, notifications, messages, news, social media. Other people's problems and opinions invade the mind instantly. This floods the brain with noise and distraction, pulling attention outward instead of inward. The mind becomes reactive, scattered, and anxious before the day has even begun. At that point, the person is no longer leading the day, they are responding to it. When mornings start this way, the nervous system stays in stress mode. There is no pause to think, no space to breathe, no time to decide what truly matters. Small frustrations feel bigger, focus becomes harder, confidence quietly disappears. The day turns into a series of reactions instead of purposeful actions. This is why most people feel exhausted before noon, even if they haven't done anything meaningful. Their energy was spent fighting chaos instead of creating direction. By losing control of the morning, they hand control of their thoughts, emotions, and time to the outside world. And once the mind starts the day in surrender, it becomes extremely difficult to regain command later. The morning is not just a routine. It is the command room where your entire day is programmed. The first thoughts you allow into your mind set the emotional tone for everything that follows. If those thoughts are rushed, negative, or unfocused, the rest of the day will reflect that same disorder. But when the morning is calm, intentional, and structured, the mind moves with clarity and strength. In the early hours, the brain is highly receptive. It absorbs information, beliefs, and emotions more deeply than at any other time of day. This is why what you think, say, and do after waking up carries so much power. A single positive decision in the morning can create momentum that lasts for hours, while one careless habit can weaken focus and drain motivation. When you treat the morning as a control center, you stop leaving your day to chance. You begin to direct your energy instead of wasting it. Planning, reflection, and intentional action in the morning reduce confusion later. Decisions become easier because priorities are already clear. Stress decreases because the mind feels prepared rather than rushed. The morning also determines how you respond to challenges. A centered start creates emotional stability. allowing you to stay composed under pressure. Instead of reacting impulsively, you respond thoughtfully. Over time, this consistency builds confidence, discipline, and a sense of inner authority. The person who controls their morning controls their reactions, their productivity, and the overall direction of their life. The difference between average people and the top 1% is not talent or luck. It is intentionality. High performers do not allow the morning to happen to them. The moment they wake up, they decide who they will be, how they will think, and what standard they will operate from that day. This single act of decision-making places them in control before distractions appear. Waking up with intention means having a clear mental direction instead of mental noise. The top 1% take a moment to center their thoughts, reminding themselves of their purpose, values, and priorities. This prevents their mind from wandering into worry, comparison, or distraction. When intention leads the morning, focus becomes sharper and energy becomes more controlled. Intentional mornings also eliminate hesitation. When you know what matters most, you stop wasting time on trivial decisions. The mind becomes decisive instead of confused. This clarity reduces procrastination and builds momentum early, making difficult tasks feel lighter and more manageable. Over time, waking up with intention strengthens identity. Each morning becomes a vote for the person you are becoming. Disciplined, focused, and self-directed, the day no longer pulls you in random directions because your direction was chosen first. This is how the top 1% consistently stay ahead, not by doing more, but by starting with purpose and mental command. Discipline is often misunderstood as restriction, but in reality, it is the gateway to freedom. The morning is where this truth becomes most visible. When you practice discipline early, waking up on time, following a routine, and committing to small, non-negotiable actions, you remove chaos from the rest of the day. Instead of constantly deciding what to do next, your mind operates with structure and certainty. Morning discipline strengthens self-trust. Every time you do what you said you would do, especially when it's uncomfortable, you reinforce the belief that you are reliable. This inner trust reduces stress and doubt because you no longer question your ability to follow through. Confidence grows not from motivation, but from repeated acts of discipline. Without discipline in the morning, the day fills with distractions, unfinished tasks, and mental clutter. This creates pressure and overwhelm, forcing you to work harder just to keep up. But when discipline leads, the day flows with less resistance. Priorities are handled early, energy is conserved, and mental space opens up for creativity and focus. Freedom comes from this order. You gain freedom from last-minute panic, emotional reactions, and wasted time. You move through the day with control rather than urgency. The disciplined morning builds a foundation that supports calm decision-making, consistent performance, and a sense of control that carries into every area of life. Mental power is limited, especially in the early hours when the mind is still setting its direction. The top 1% understand that what they allow into their mind first will shape their focus for the rest of the day. That is why they fiercely protect their mornings from distractions. They know that every unnecessary notification, message, or piece of information steals a portion of their attention and weakens their ability to think clearly. Distractions fragment the mind. When you begin the day by checking your phone, your brain is trained to jump from one stimulus to another. This creates restlessness and impatience, making deep focus almost impossible later. Even after putting the phone away, the mind continues to crave stimulation, pulling attention away from important tasks. By avoiding distractions, mental energy is preserved. The mind stays calm, present, and intentional instead of scattered. This allows for better decision making, sharper thinking, and stronger emotional control. Problems feel more manageable because the brain is not overloaded with irrelevant information. Protecting mental power in the morning also strengthens discipline. Choosing silence, stillness, or focused activity over instant stimulation builds self-control. Over time, this creates a mind that is less reactive and more resilient, capable of sustained focus and purposeful action throughout the day. Self-respect is not something you demand from others. It is something you earn from yourself. The morning is where this relationship is built or broken. Every small promise you keep after waking up, getting out of bed on time, following your routine, doing what you said you would do, sends a powerful message to your mind: I can trust myself. When morning habits are inconsistent, self-doubt quietly grows. Each skipped routine or delayed action weakens confidence, even if you don't consciously notice it. Over time, this creates an inner voice that questions your discipline and reliability. But when you honor your morning commitments, even the simplest ones, you strengthen your identity and inner authority. Consistent morning habits create emotional stability. You start the day with a sense of accomplishment instead of guilt or regret. This emotional foundation makes it easier to face challenges, handle pressure, and stay composed under stress. You move through the day with quiet confidence because you already proved your strength to yourself. As self-respect grows, standards rise naturally. You become less tolerant of laziness, negativity, and wasted time, not because you force yourself, but because your identity has changed. The person who respects themselves in the morning carries that strength into every decision, interaction, and responsibility throughout the day. Your life does not change in dramatic moments. It changes in consistent ones. The morning is the most consistent moment you are given every single day. When you master how you wake up, you begin shaping your entire life from a place of control rather than chance. The habits, thoughts, and standards you practice in the morning quietly influence every choice you make afterward. Mastering the morning creates alignment. Your actions begin to match your goals because the day starts with intention instead of confusion. When the morning is structured and purposeful, your mind stays organized, making it easier to stay focused on what truly matters. Distractions lose their power because your direction is already set. A strong morning also strengthens emotional resilience. Challenges, delays, and pressure no longer throw you off balance as easily because you began the day grounded and prepared. You respond with patience instead of frustration, confidence instead of doubt. This emotional control compounds over time, improving relationships, work performance, and personal growth. When mornings are mastered, life becomes predictable in the best way. Progress becomes consistent, discipline becomes natural, and growth becomes unavoidable. The person you become is no longer defined by circumstances, but by the standards you practice every morning. You don't need to wait for the perfect time, the perfect motivation, or the perfect circumstances. Every morning already gives you a choice to wake up in control or to wake up in reaction. The habits you practice in those first moments quietly shape your confidence, your discipline, and your direction. If you want a different life, don't try to change everything at once. Change how you wake up, protect your morning, respect your routine, and lead your mind before the world tries to lead it. When you take control of the morning, you stop chasing success and start becoming the person it naturally follows.